Hey everyone, Whitney LeBrie here. This week, I'm going to turn this dollar store furniture into perfect pieces for a baby room, perfect pieces for the land of Oz. And I feel a storm coming on, so I better get going. Alright, so if you're new to the channel, just to give you a little backstory here, I've acquired a 15-room dollhouse and I just started doing the renovation. Last week was my first episode on it and we are doing a Wizard of Oz baby room theme. This is the room that I'm doing here where the arrow is pointing. This is where we're at. This is what it looked like when I first started. This is the before picture. I am dividing this room into a nanny's quarters and then the baby room. Last week we worked on the farmhouse, aka nanny's room, and then now we're going to start moving on to the baby's room side or the Oz side of the room. Today I'm not going to actually be doing any renovation of the interior walls or flooring. I am going to be working on the dollar store furniture and turning it into very Oz themed baby furniture. So this is the furniture that I have here that I've purchased from the dollar store. I have the table here that I'm going to be painting. I have got this little console table here. I have dressers. Actually, I have two dressers. I'm going to turn one into an armoire. And then these are just some other pieces here, this little chair and this baby crib that has seen better days. I'm just going to renovate those two pieces and also change them into something a little bit more fit for Oz. Now, what am I going to do? Well, I thought it would be super fun if we turned each of these items into characters from the Wizard of Oz. And I think we're going to start with the Tin Man first. So for the Tin Man, I'm really not going to be making any major modifications to the piece. The dresser is fine the way that it is, and I don't really need it to be functional because really I am really focusing on just making it look like the Tin Man. So of course the first thing I'm going to do is sand and prep this piece. Sometimes when you use metallic paint, you've probably noticed this in the past, that you really need to do a base coat first of another color so that the metallic finish will actually really shine through. So in this case, I'm using a dark gray color and I'm just going to go ahead and do a base coat of the dark gray. Once that coat is on and nice and dry, I'm going to go ahead and take my silver paint, my metallic silver paint here, and go ahead and give it a nice coat. Now, if you've ever touched a piece of painted furniture and it has this really nice buttery smooth finish on it, the way that was accomplished is by taking a piece of brown paper bag and sanding it before coats. And I know that sounds so easy, and it is easy, but it's something that will make such a huge difference on your pieces. So I went ahead and painted the silver on, then I took that brown paper bag, I sanded it, and then I did another coat. That gave me a very smooth, buttery finish on this piece. Now what I'm going to do again, as I am not modifying this piece, I'm just going to take some black paint and I'm going to just paint the knobs black. Now if you'll notice, I do have one knob that's painted white and I'm going to make it into the Tin Man clock, and so I'm going to leave that. And because I really want this piece to look like the Tin Man, I want to have rivets along the side. So I'm just going to take my black permanent marker. I'm just going to make little dots down the side. The next thing I'm going to do is take my Sharpie, my silver Sharpie, and I'm just going to add in a little dot over those black dots. And the same with the front drawers. I'm just going to add a little silver tip to all of those, and then it will actually give the look of rivets. The next thing I'm going to do is get my red polymer clay out, and I'm going to shape out a little heart. I will go ahead and place that over that one drawer pull. It already kind of looks like the Tin Man once you add that heart. And then I did take some leftover polymer clay and I shaped it into a little funnel, and I'm going to include that on the top of this piece. I do want the funnel to kind of sit crooked on it because if you see in the movie, Tin Man's hat is actually a little crooked on his head. I think that's a super cute added characteristic, and I think it's really going to make an impact on this piece. So I did also bake a little pearl size polymer clay ball and painted it silver as well so that the funnel can lean up on it and it'll look as though the hat is just sitting there crooked. The chain on the Tin Man heart is these little daisies, these little white daisies with yellow centers. So I'm just taking my bronze Sharpie right here and I'm drawing out the line that I want to paint the little daisies so that just gives me a nice marker to stay within. So I'm going to paint those out. add the yellow centers. And then I did take a little bronze color and I just lightly dusted a few areas of the piece itself. I really felt like for the most part, even though the Tin Man does get cleaned up in the end before meeting the powerful Oz, he is for the most part rusty throughout the entire movie. So I went ahead and did added a little highlighting of some copper to indicate some rust. And there we go. There's our Tin Man dresser. Okay, for the Scarecrow, I'm going to take this console piece here, and my idea is to have this be the baby changing table. And so I want to really work on the legs first. Again, I'm really not going to do a lot of modifications on these pieces, but I do want to taper the front legs just a little bit because I do want them to kind of resemble the Scarecrow legs. And of course, we do have a tapered leg. So I'm just going to shave down the sides, not on the back at all, just the front two legs. Shave them down, taper them a little bit by using my X-Acto knife and also some sandpaper. Then I'm going to grab some acrylic paint. I'm going to do a color called Celery for the top, and then I'm doing just a regular brown color for the base, the pants area, which is I'm using a color called Milk Chocolate. And then I used a flesh tone color for the front of the drawers, which will be more representative of the Scarecrow's face. And then I did a burgundy color to represent the Scarecrow's nose. Again, didn't do any modifications. Now I took some felt and I was kind of going back and forth between the brown and the green. So I bought both. And then I went ahead with the green on green for the very top and put that in. And then I have some of this twine here that I'm going to wrap around the top of that to kind of edge it out. And of course, the Scarecrow has rope that he has around his ankles, neck, and body and waist to keep him up on the pole. The twine will really represent that and look really nice on the piece. The next thing I have is some raffia here. And of course, the Scarecrow has his straw hanging out of his arms and his legs and around his neck and stuff. And so we definitely need to add a little bit of straw. So I added it to the base and I just added a smaller twine around the bottom. And then I added a little few pieces on the side to give it that look of being a Scarecrow, of course. I also added some patches. I painted on some patches in orange and green and then added a little black to look as though thread was holding on the patches. And then I just took a piece of paper and a little piece of red ribbon, tied it together to act as though a diploma. I removed one of the drawer pulls and then added the diploma in its place to give that piece a little bit more character and of course look a lot more like the Scarecrow. And there you go. The Scarecrow changing table is complete. So now we've got the Tin Man, we have got the Scarecrow. So let's move on away from the dollar store pieces really quickly. So of course the crib in most baby rooms is kind of the center piece of the room. And of course it holds the baby, which is super important. So I thought it would be really fun if I turn this white and yellowed crib into Dorothy. And it's going to be very easy. I'm just going to use white. I'm going to use blue to represent the gingham color in her dress. We've got milk chocolate that will represent her hair. And then of course we've got red, which will be her ruby slippers. I did a base coat on all of that. I base coated the whole bed in white. Then I added some blue to the sides. I did a trim in brown at the top. And then of course I painted the feet in the red color. Now I've got my red glitter. So I'm going to add some glue. I'm going to dip those feet into that glitter to give those bases a major ruby slipper vibe. And then I also took some blue ribbon and tied little blue bows around the top or around her hair, right? Quote unquote her hair. And then I have this little gingham blue baby pad here. I already had this. I didn't make it. That I'm going to put inside the crib. And there is Dorothy. All right, moving back over to our dollar store table here. So I thought this really, even though I thought this would really be cute as a children's table. And what I'd like to do with her is turn her into the Wicked Witch. Now, of course, this is a baby's room, so I don't want it to be overly scary or anything. So I'm going to take the approach. If you've ever seen the screenplay, the play Wicked, their posters, they look like the witch, but it's not scary. It's actually a younger version, of course, but it's more like shapes coming together to create the look of the face of the witch. So I thought it would be fun if I kind of did something similar. So I'm just going to go with an Irish moss green and of course just a true black color. I'm going to do a half and half on the table, half green and half black. Then once the green is all nice and dry, I'm just going to paint some little swirls on it to represent the witch's hair. And again, not ever making a face on any of these pieces. I just want you to be able to look at them and know what they are. Now, of course, the Wicked Witch has a broom, so we have to do one leg that looks like a broom base. So I just took some of my twine and unraveled it quite a bit, and then I glued on these pieces and wrapped it with the smaller twine so that it looks like one leg is the broom. I kind of wanted the hat a little bit of a cone portion for the hat, but it's like having a cone sitting there on the table would kind of be, I think, a little weird. You really wouldn't know. So all I did was I took some Fimo, some polymer clay, and I made this little tea set. I had never made a little tea set before, so it's not that great. The cups are a little thick and so are the saucers, but I think you get the idea. And so I'm going to add that little set to the black side of the table, and then that will kind of represent the cone portion of the witch's hat without actually being a witch's hat. And then the table, aka the witch, is complete. All right, now I have this little chair and I would like to make this the chair that goes with the children's table. And there's only one thing I can think of when I see this chair, and it is a flying monkey. So here are the colors I'm going to use for this chair. Of course, we've got a nice vibrant blue. I've got red and white. And I'm going to do a couple coats of the blue. First, of course, I did sand this chair down and make sure that the paint really adhered a lot better. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the same pattern or a similar pattern that we see on the flying monkey uniforms with the zigzag red and white. And of course, that's going to take a few coats as well. So once those all go on, this is what the chair will look like. And of course, there's one major component to this chair that we definitely need in order to be a flying monkey. Am I right? So I've got my cardstock here. I'm going to draw out a wing, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut two at the same time so they're exactly the same. And then I'm going to take my dark gray and I'm just going to paint those wings until I get a nice pattern that I really like. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue that on down to the chair. And those are, if you're thinking those are pretty big wings, they are, but I really love them nice and big like that. So I'm going to go ahead and keep them that size. So now all together, we've got our witch and our flying monkey chair. All right, so now last but certainly not least, we definitely need to have a lion, a cowardly lion. So I don't want to have two dressers in the room, and I would rather have an armoire. Now, I'm not going to make this a functional armoire, but you certainly could. If you remove the top, you can see that there is an interior cavity there. What I'm going to use for the door is actually a painter's stir stick and cut that down. But if you wanted to make this functional, all you would need to do is go ahead and grab some hardware. So here I've got the hinges, and then also if you wanted to do like a wardrobe bar on the inside, you could just use a toothpick. It's wide enough, and you could just go ahead and glue that in. Now this piece here, this wood is actually going to be my center bar so that there's no gap in between the doors. So this is what it looks like when it's all glued together using wood glue. We've got the center bar, you've got the two doors. I'm going to use a myriad of different browns and caramel colors here for the lion's body color, for the lion fur color. So we've got coat number 1, which is like a nice caramel color. And then I'm just going to add a very dark chocolate brown along the top to represent the lion's mane. And then once that dries, I'm going to add in a few other of this darker caramel color. And I did that on the bottom as well for his feet. And I just mixed in that color a little bit for the mane. And then that's what that looks like. Now I've added some gold hardware to this. I didn't modify any of the other pieces, their hardware, but it felt like the lion would have gold for some reason. So that's what I did. His gold medal is attached to a red and white ribbon. So I went ahead and started painting in the red and white ribbon. And then I did grab some polymer clay and gold. I did make the metal as similar as I could to what we saw in the movie and went ahead and added that. I also put a little red ribbon around the door handle to represent the ribbon that the lion wears when he gets his little makeover. And then of course, prior to seeing Oz, he is crowned king of the forest with the broken pot that the Tin Man hits with his axe. So we need to go ahead and make that, I think. So I'm just going to take a little piece of paper. I'm going to cut it down to represent the crown, and then I'm going to paint it green, add a little gold to it, and then there, my friends, is the cowardly lion. All right, you guys, so Here is all of our characters. We have the witch, we've got the flying monkey, we've got the lion, we have Dorothy, we have the Scarecrow, we have the Tin Man. And I know you're probably saying to yourself, Whitney, you're missing a few of the other characters. Well, don't worry, because we will definitely have them represented in the room, but I have some other ideas of how I want to incorporate them, and so you'll just have to come back next time and see part 3 of the Wizard of Oz baby room, and I'm hoping that part 3 will be the wrap up of the full room so that it will all come together. Well, hey there, Tiny Whitney, what are you doing? Yes, that is the witch's table. What do you think? Do you like it? Wait, what are you doing? No. What are you doing with the water? But no. No. That is not the real witch. That is just a table. Calm down. Put the bucket down. All right, we'll find you a real witch to throw water on, okay? Next time. All right, now what was I saying? Oh yes, it'll be a couple weeks before that video comes out because I do have the What's New Wednesday coming up, and then I have a very special St. Patrick's Day video for you as well. So I definitely hope to see you then. You guys, I hope that you loved these dollar store makeovers today and all the special little added additions that really brought the characters to life through each one of these pieces. Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed today's show. I'm Whitney, and this is my little munchkin, Tiny Whitney. We hope you had a great time, had fun, maybe learned something new, and if you did, go ahead and smash that subscribe button for us, give us a thumbs up, and as always, we'd love to hear from you, so don't forget to leave a comment. Thank you so much for being here, you guys, and as always, in this crazy life, it's the little things that matter.